Welcome everyone. If you are studying A-level chemistry, you should be aware of titrations. This is a method used to determine an unknown amount of substance. The procedure involves volumetric glassware such as burettes and pipettes. Analysts must use this apparatus correctly in order to ensure that the results are as accurate as possible. In this video, we will look at how mistakes made by an analyst can impact the final results. If you stick around until the end, I'll give you a top tip to maximise your chance of getting the right answer even if you aren't sure what the correct response is. This is an A-level chemistry question taken from a past paper. Details are in the description. Let's get started. Here's the question. 25.0 cm3 samples of NaOH solution were taken by pipette from a beaker. These were then titrated with an aqueous solution of ethanoic acid. The concentration of ethanoic acid calculated from the experimental results was found to be lower than the actual value. Which of these could explain the difference? A. Rinsing the pipette with distilled water before filling with NaOH. B. Rinsing the burette with distilled water before filling with ethanoic acid. C. Rinsing the walls of the conical flask with distilled water during the titration. Or D. Rinsing the beaker with distilled water before filling with NaOH. I've edited the question here by leaving only the essential information. I've also included a diagram. This really helps us to visualise where everything is. 25.0 cm3 of sodium hydroxide is used in the titration. This is transferred from the beaker to a conical flask. Ethanoic acid is delivered to the conical flask using a burette. During the titration, ethanoic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide to produce a salt and water. Acid plus alkali gives salt and water. When the ethanoic acid is in excess, a colour change will be observed if an indicator is used, and we record the volume of ethanoic acid delivered from the burette. We don't need to calculate any concentrations to answer this question, so a balanced chemical equation is not required. Let's look at each of the options in turn. A. Rinsing the pipette with distilled water before filling with NaOH. This is definitely a mistake. We should rinse volumetric glassware with a solution that you are going to use it with, not water. The impact of rinsing this glassware with water leads to a lower concentration of sodium hydroxide. This means that a smaller volume of ethanoic acid will be required for neutralisation. This mistake will lead to a higher calculated concentration of ethanoic acid than the actual value. Option B is also a mistake, rinsing the burette with distilled water before filling with ethanoic acid. However, this will lead to a lower concentration of ethanoic acid. A larger volume of ethanoic acid will be required for neutralisation. This mistake will lead to a lower calculated concentration of ethanoic acid than the actual value. So it looks like option B is the correct response, but let's take a look at the other options just to make sure. Option C, rinsing the walls of the conical flask with distilled water during the titration. This is not a mistake. It is good practice. Distilled water will not alter the endpoint and ensures that all of the sodium hydroxide and ethanoic acid react. And finally, option D, rinsing the beaker with distilled water before filling with NaOH. This will also lead to a lower concentration of NaOH. A smaller volume of ethanoic acid will be required for neutralisation. We can use the same logic to reject this response as we did for option A. So the correct response is option B, rinsing the burette with distilled water before filling with ethanoic acid. As promised, here is a top tip. A and D both dilute the NaOH. Since both of these responses can't be correct, the answer must be B or C. You now have a 50-50 chance of success. Also, if you know that rinsing with distilled water is good practice, this means that the correct answer must be B. Always look for ways to eliminate impossible answers like this on multiple choice questions. This will maximise your chance of success. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful. Please post in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions. Take care and good luck with your studies.